My goal is to reach as many agency owners out there as possible and to get them in the right place at the right time. Facebook Messenger the bots out there allow you to do that. So like one of the things that I've done is change my contact page to a messenger bot that starts the conversation and then gets them to the right place at the right time.
Welcome to Modern Entrepreneur. Today we have Jason Swenk. Jason is an agency advisor that guides marketing agencies through a proven framework for steady growth. He leads jasonswenk.com, that's with an E, a media company and consultancy helping marketing agencies grow, scale, and enjoy running their agency by applying the framework that he used to grow his own agency before selling it. He's helped over 10,000 agencies in 23 countries meet or exceed their business goals. That's pretty impressive.
Man, yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, I appreciate it. So what is your unique skill set, do you think, that's had you have that kind of success?
Well, I really think it's focus, right? I think as entrepreneurs, we're visionaries and we kind of chase all the red, shiny objects.
Yeah.
And it's really about kind of finishing one commitment until success. And that's really what focus is, and really taking action. Because, you know, look, everybody comes to these conferences, watches these types of interviews, and about maybe 20% of them will actually take action. Yeah. Well, I take action faster than anybody. And it's just, you know, and I'm willing to fail. And that's, I think, you know, the biggest thing that I do with the skill sets.
So I ask this question of anybody who says something like that, because I feel like it's one of the hardest challenges that entrepreneurs face, which is that we get all overwhelmed with input of ideas. And so you're like an action-taking guy. Many of us entrepreneurs are. But how do you decide which ideas to take action on, and then presuming that not everything that you do works, how do you decide when to like switch to the next thing?
Yeah, well, I really think it comes down to clarity, right? Everybody thinks, oh, well, I need to jump on Facebook Messenger bot or whatever the latest trends are, right?
Now, isn't it?
Right? And it's all comes down to clarity of going, I know exactly where I want to go and what we want to do, and then I have a vision behind that. And then as I go through all the different things that are in front of me, I look at going, what's the best priority right now? So like a great analogy a lot of people use is, let's say you have two glasses, right? You have two glasses like this. And a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll do like they'll take the small task, checking the email, and they're proactive or reactive to an email. They put all these little pebbles in this glass, and then they take the tennis ball, put it in there, it's going to overflow it. Versus if you put the tennis ball in first, the little pebbles next, it's going to fit in perfect. So it's about doing the big items first.
Interesting.
And so I know exactly where I want to go, and then I'm going to do the big impact item that I know is going to work in the long term first, that I think. And then I surround myself and do all the little things.
The little stuff after. So it sounds like kind of really having the end in mind, the goal, and then working backwards from there, like actually making a legitimate plan that you can believe in that's actually going to work to achieve the goal, and then just basically ignoring everything else.
Exactly.
So are you on Facebook Messenger?
Of course.
Well, wait a minute.
It's a game changer. But I'll tell you why it is too. Because it ultimately gets me to the end goal, right? So for example, my goal is to reach as many agency owners out there as possible and to get them in the right place at the right time. Facebook Messenger the bots out there allow you to do that. So like one of the things that I've done is change my contact page to a messenger bot that starts the conversation and then gets them to the right place at the right time.
Interesting. So, so let's just like dive into that for a second. Not the process, but I'm talking about the decision because this is relatively new. Like we must be talking about weeks, right, or a month or something like that.
Yeah, I've been using it for the past 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay. So you were doing something else presumably before that. And then you saw this new shiny thing, and one among many, right? Like, are you also on Snapchat?
Nope.
Okay, good. So you missed that one. Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram stories.
Instagram stories. Okay. So let's just go there. Like Instagram stories, yes. Snapchat, no.
I was on Snapchat.
Oh, and?
Right. I didn't like it.
Didn't like it.
I wasn't connecting with the audience.
Okay, good. So it sounds like you are trying. Like the stuff comes up, and you're like, okay, let's try it.
Oh yeah. So you set certain parts of your day in order to try new things because you got to be innovative, right? You don't want to rise to the top, kind of like a Blockbuster, and then kind of fail. You want to kind of be like the Netflix, rise to the top, kind of figure out, oh, it's going down a little bit. I don't need to send out DVDs anymore. I need to do streaming.
Right. So So did you stop doing the other things when you started doing the new things?
Somewhat, or you set up the right systems, right? Because I believe if you have the right systems in place, I mean, that's the great part of your tool, right? It allows you to automate some of those different systems. And those are the difference between, people that are really successful and not.
So the systems continue to run, and so you're not stopping really doing the stuff that was working.
Correct.
And but you're constantly experimenting with the new stuff.
Correct.
And then at some point you decide this isn't working. So why did you just quit Snapchat?
I didn't feel like it was going anywhere, right? And I kind of looked at it going, Instagram stories just came out. People are on Instagram just checking out pictures, like I'll go on there looking at like cat videos and dog videos and Jeeps and stuff like that. I'm like, people's attentions are there.
Yeah.
On Snapchat, people are just going there to kind of figure out like, all right, Gary Vee told me to get on Snapchat, let me go check it out, right? And then other people are trying to figure it out and we're like,
not really.
I didn't feel it.
Didn't feel it. Yeah, I hear you. Okay, so the next question I always ask is what's working now, but it sounds like Messenger's the thing.
It's huge, and no one's putting it as their contact page. So I really started looking at my contact page, and everybody has that basic form on there, right? And so what happens is someone fills out the form, you get the email of the form a couple hours later, you respond to it, and then it's just a slow chain.
Yeah.
But when I changed it to my contact page, it literally could segment them and start the conversation for me. And then I could jump in at any time. And when I jumped in, even if, while we're doing this interview, if people are messaging me, I can leave, go respond to them, and it goes right to their phone. It doesn't go in their email.
Right.
And it gets their attention, and I can start the conversation.
Right. So this might be embarrassing for me to say this since I run a large marketing automation company, but I have no idea what you mean by putting Facebook Messenger on your contact page.
So as soon as you click the contact page, so I use a really cool service that will open up the Messenger. So it literally will...
Like you click a button and it opens up Messenger.
Opens up Messenger.
Okay, that I understand.
Yep.
Okay, got it. So opens up Messenger, and then you're just chatting you, and you're getting on your phone, and you're in.
Yep.
Got it. Okay, and that's turning into a lot more contact than you were getting before.
Amazingly. And then the other cool thing is once they do that, I can send broadcast emails to them in Facebook Messenger. So if I look at my email list of my open rate, it's like 25%.
Yeah.
Click-through rate, maybe 3-5% on a good day.
Yeah.
In Facebook Messenger, 100% deliverability.
Yeah.
So they're seeing that.
Yeah.
And about 80% click-through rate.
Yeah. So based on your experience, you've been doing this for a while. How long do you think that's going to last? I mean, you know that as well as I do, that's going to become like spamified like that, and then it's going to all get locked down. So how long do you think the opportunity?
Well, the broadcasting, I don't do that much because I'm kind of like the same way.
Everybody else is going to.
Yep. But in the confirmation or the conversation that you can start right away, I think that's game changing. And here's where marketers are going to mess it up. They're going to try to automate everything.
Yeah.
I'm just automating starting the conversation and making sure that I'm reaching them. And I think that's the game changing. And the thing about me is like what I told you is I'm always looking for the next thing that I know can propel me to the next level, right? And I think with connecting with them, that's the game changing.
Yeah, connecting with people one-on-one.
Yeah, it's the user experience.
Yeah.
Right? You look at the user experience just with, what I was telling you with the form. That's kind of like, old, send the message in the mail.
Right.
And it's kind of the snail mail. Now you can do it really, really quick.
Yeah, got it. So as we discussed right before we started rolling here, you did 12 years as an agency. You sold the agency. Everybody wanted to know how you did that. You started your agency advisory, a program that's now reached 10,000 people. So that's where you're at. What's kind of like next for you? What are you learning now?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is really setting up the right foundation and the framework in order to grow and scale. And I see that's the biggest thing that, businesses don't have an idea of where to go and how to set it up. And the next thing is really kind of coming up and finishing up the book and then putting just making sure I'm creating content that's relevant and actually helps my audience and just obsess over that. That's all I care about.
The content. You're just super focused on creating great content right now. Interesting. And the idea being content marketing, basically?
Correct, but maybe more of a media service or a media company. Like my thing is I want to create a resource that I wish I had when I was running an agency, right? And I think everybody needs to do that. You know, I think one of the biggest things that business owners do wrong is they focus on their products or their services or the money that they can actually make versus really obsess over their client and who they actually serve.
Right. Got it. And so, when you say you're building content, you're actually building, it's like the product, right? It's the thing that you wish that you had.
Exactly.
And not so much the strategy about how to get the next customer.
Well, it's about all you have to do to get the next customer is build awareness and build trust. That's the only thing, right? It's really pretty easy if at the end of the day, if you focus on those two things, that's it. But people don't define and laser focus on their customer or their client who they're serving. They say, I go after small business, right? And you can't start there. You have to start, you know, very small and then kind of move up.
Targeted, not small. You mean like with the targeted specific
Correct.
people?
I mean, think about like Facebook, right? When they first started out, they started going after Harvard, Ivy League schools, colleges, ex-boyfriends, girlfriends, stalking people, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, perfect, Mark. So if you were able to kind of like give yourself a piece of advice 15 years ago when you were starting your agency about like your career, what would it have been?
Continuous learning. Like when I was in my 20s, I started my agency when I was 22. And so I thought I knew everything. And, you know, especially as a digital agency owner, right? Big egos and we, you know, whatever it is. And so, but now when I get my 30s, it's just like, how can I, you know, thirsty for knowledge and always like, hey, I don't know everything. Let's go after this and constantly learn from everybody. And so I would just say, keep learning because, you know, when you're in the 20s, you just get out of school, you're like, oh, great, the learning stops. And I know everything,
That's funny because I think my 13-year-old already thinks she knows everything.
Of course.
So the advice was keep learning because there's because you just need to be open to the next thing. Everything's always changing.
Yeah, because you know there's so many people that think they figured everything out, and when you do that, then you're going to start to turn kind of brown, and then you're going to kind of rot and go away versus always be green.
It's so dynamic out there today, right? There's new stuff happening
all the time,
constantly. All right, so. Then a sort of more philosophical question: if you were to go towards, you know, into the future and like look back on your career and your life, what do you hope that your legacy will be?
You know, every piece of content, everything I do is thinking back of like my kids want to start a business, right? I think being an entrepreneur is one of the coolest things, but it's not for everybody. And so, you know, just being able to say, look, this person put out really good information that helped me and made me, you know, have fun, enjoy my business, not really struggle, because some people get into entrepreneurship that they go, I'm in it for the money. I want to build up a big, you know, tech company and sell it, and then what? But I think it's about being significant. And I think, you know, one of the things that my dad taught me is like, look, yeah, you sold your agency, great, you're successful, but how can you be significant and help other people out? And so that's what I want my legacy to be.
That you made a difference for people, and specifically in the area of like being like kind of seeing possibility, creating a business for themselves. Yeah, good. What do you think it means to be a modern entrepreneur? How are things different today than they have been?
I mean, it's amazing what you can do. I mean, you know, I've built a 7-figure business. I have 1 employee. And like, it's very, like, thinking back about like 10 years ago, there was no way. I mean, my agency had over 100 people. And like, looking back now, you could probably do that with like 10. For, you know, the level that you can get to. So it's just, with technology, it's enabled us to reach anybody, anywhere.
Anybody, anywhere, and then like scale in ways using technology that just weren't possible 10 years ago. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, man.
It was great to meet you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Will you sign our wall?
Of course.
Cool.
But I do feel like that you do have to realize what's most important in life at all times, no matter how hard you're pushing. And constantly remind yourself of that. So this way, you know, it's okay to push hard, but also remember that, you know, it's really about the people around you that's most important.